All right. Question number 1. The table shows a number of protons, neutrons, and electrons in 4 different particles, W, X, Y, and Z. This is, just by the way, this is Feb-March 21. All right. Now, which pair represents the atoms of 2 isotopes of the same element? Now, what are isotopes? Isotopes have the same number of protons and electrons, but different number of neutrons. So they've given us the protons, electrons, and neutrons. Let's see. Same number of protons are in these 3. So I mean W, X, Y. Wherever you have Z, that can't be the answer. Yes. So let's see. B can't be the answer. D can't be the answer because Z is not an isotope of these because it has a different proton number. It should have the same number of electrons also. So this and this has the same number of electrons. And it should have different number of neutrons. So you see the answer therefore is W and Y. Do you see they are isotopes of each other because they have same protons, same electrons, different neutrons. Looks like A. Where is the periodic table? Where in the periodic table is the element that has outer electron shell arrangement of 4s2 4p3? So this is in the 4th. So how many outer electrons do you have? In the 4th shell. 4th shell is the outer shell. How many outer electrons do we have? 5. So this must be in group 15. And how many shells do we have? We have a maximum of 4 shells. Do you see it's 4s2 4p? So this means it should be in period 4. So the answer therefore is D, group 15, period 4. Substance Q is a hydrocarbon. When 1 gram of Q is completely burnt, 3.22 gram of carbon dioxide is produced. What could be the identity of Q? So let's see. Now they're saying it could be cyclohexene. So what is cyclohexene? So this is C6H. It's a cyclic hexene. So that's C6H. When you make a cyclic compound, you lose 2 hydrogens. So rather than being C6H12, it would be C6H10. So let's check. When you burn this in oxygen, carbon dioxide and water, let's balance it, 6 CO2, and then you have 10 H's here. So you will put a 5 here, 12 plus 5, 17 oxygen. So this will be 17 upon 2. Now let's see, 1 gram of Q. So can I convert 1 gram to moles? Can I convert this? If this is Q, can I convert it to moles? So I can do 1 upon the MR. What will be the MR? 12 times 6 plus 10. So 12 times 6 plus 10, 1 divided by that, and that will give you 0.01219 moles. So this is 0.01219 moles of C6H10. Let's see. Now, how many moles of carbon dioxide are produced? 6. The ratio is 1:6. So if this is 0.01219, how many moles would this be? X. And you find the moles which come out to be 0.07317 moles of carbon dioxide. And can I convert that to grams? How? Multiplying the moles by MR. And when you do that, you multiply this by 44, which is the MR of carbon dioxide. The mass of carbon dioxide comes out to be 3.219. So you can round that off to 3.22. And that's exactly what we have. Do you see? This is 3.22 grams of carbon dioxide being produced. Therefore, the answer is A. Now, you'll be like, Miss, we'll have to do this for all the options. No, you got your answer in A. You don't have to do this process for all the others, right? So generally, when you have such intense working, it's usually A, because that doesn't mean that you always just mark it A. I'm just telling you because they don't want you to do the tedious procedure for all and then finally get to your answer, which may be D. So generally, if a lot of working is required, the answer is usually A or B, so that you don't have to repeat your working for all the other options, all right? Because then that's too time consuming. Do you understand this? Question number 4. Originally, chemists thought indium had the formula INO, By experiment, they showed that 4.8 grams of indium combined with 1 gram of oxygen to produce this much of indium oxide. The AR of oxygen is known to be 16. Which value for the AR of indium calculated using this data? So let's see. They told you that indium oxide, the empirical formula is given to you, or the formula is given to you, which is how much? INO. They're in the ratio of 1:1. They've given you the masses also. They've told you the mass is 4.8. Now, you need to find the AR of indium. We don't know. Let's call this X. Is to oxygen. What is the mass of oxygen? 1. What is the AR? 16. Yeah. And they told you that this gives you indium oxide, which is in the ratio of 1:1. So can I call that 1/1? Now they're saying, all right. So now they're saying that what is the AR? So you know that In plus O2 giving INO. Now let's see. They're saying, what is the AR of oxygen, AR of indium? So we know that 4.8 divided by X divided by 1/16 is equals to 1. So 4.8 divided by X times 16/1 is equals to 1. So you can find the value of X. 4.8 times 16 is equals to X. So 4.8 times 16, that comes out to be 76.8. And you can round that off to 77. The answer therefore is B. Clear? Because they had given you the formula. Indium oxide, the formula is INO, the ratio is 1:1. So just by working out the empirical formula, the whole steps of empirical formula, you can do that. Clear? I'll just move this working. Okay, I'll just leave it here. In which substance are the only intermolecular forces temporary dipole-induced dipole attraction? In HCl, which type of forces will you have? Permanent dipole forces, because HCl is a polar molecule. Not this. Methanol. Methanol is CH3OH. This will have hydrogen bonding. Not this. Octane. Octane is C8H. CnH2n, C8H18. So right here, carbon and hydrogen only. And you know the electronegativity of carbon and hydrogen is similar or almost the same. Therefore, this is a non-polar molecule and it will only have temporary dipole-induced dipole forces. Not water also, because this has hydrogen bonding. This also has hydrogen bonding. This has permanent dipoles. Question number 6. With a solution contains 0.25 gram of sulfur dioxide in 1 dm cube of water, which volume of sulfur dioxide measured at this temperature and pressure must be added to 1 dm cube of water to produce this solution? So they are asking that this is the mass of sulfur dioxide in 1 dm cube of water. What volume should you add? So we will do PV is equals to nRT. Pressure is 10 to the power 5. Volume, we don't know. Number of moles, instead of that, can we put mass upon MR? So mass is 0.25. MR of sulfur dioxide, SO2, sulfur is 32, oxygen is 16 times 2. Technically 32.1 plus 16 times 2. So that's 64.1. This is 8.31 and the temperature is given to you as 50. So we can do 50 plus 273. And 50 plus 273 is how much? 323. So you multiply this by 8.31 multiplied by 0.25. So that's 671.0, and this would be 64.1 multiplied by 10 to the power 5. 671 divided by this multiplied by, so whatever your volume comes out, that would be in meters cube. So you will convert it to cm cube because you want it in cm cube. Yes. So you multiply it by 10 to the power 6, and this comes out to be 104.68 cm cube. And the answer therefore is D. Because you remember in PV nRT, the volume is in meters cube. So whatever your volume comes out, that will be in meters cube. So you will have to multiply by 10 to the power 6. And when you do that, this would be what? This would be 104.68, and that will be D. Clear? In an experiment was performed to determine the enthalpy change of combustion of ethanol, thermometer, test tube, water. This is what? Calorimetry. Now you know that we need to find enthalpy change of combustion of ethanol. Do you remember Q is equals to minus mc delta T? Now the mass of water is given as W gram. Mass of ethanol burnt is X gram. Temperature rise is Y degrees Celsius. Molar mass of ethanol is Z. Specific heat capacity of water is this much. What expression can be used to find the combustion of ethanol? Now if you remember, what we did was, the first step was to find the total heat that was absorbed by water. That was Q is equals to minus mc delta T. And you get the value as minus, what is the mass of water? W. What is the specific heat capacity of water? 4.2. What is the temperature rise? Y. So that is your total energy, and this is in joules. So you have to convert it into kilojoules. So you will divide this by 1000. So then it becomes kilojoules. Now, can I say that this amount of energy was released when this many grams of ethanol burnt? Can I convert these X grams to moles? How will I do that? X gram upon, what is the MR? Molar mass of ethanol is Z. So these many grams or these many moles give you minus W times 4.2 times Y upon 1000. So 1 mole will give you how much? So now basically they have not given you values. They've given you in terms of X, Y, Z, etc. So you need to find this. Clear? These many moles. How did I get the moles? The mass of ethanol is X. MR of ethanol is Z. So can I say mass upon MR, which is X upon Z, that is moles. So those many moles give you this much energy. So 1 mole will give you how much? That's what we need to find. So it will be X upon Z is equals to minus W times 4.2 Y upon, and this you can make this 1000X. Just need some extra space here. Do you guys understand this? 1 minute. All right. So this would be 1 times this and this times this. All right. This is what we need to find. So it will be X upon Z is equal to minus W times 4.2 times Y upon 1000. And this is what we need to find. For example, let me put another symbol here. Can I call this A? I need to find A. So I'm just putting A here. Yeah. A is what I need to find. So what will it be? It will be A is equals to Z times minus W times 4.2Y, right, upon 1000X. Clear? And that comes out to be A. Is this clear? So basically you did the entire thing without numbers in terms of X, Y, Z, W. Question number 8. VO2Cl reacts with sodium iodide under the conditions. Oxidation state of chloride in is -1 in VO2Cl and in VOCl2. So chlorine is -1 here, and they are saying it is -1 here as well. So they've given you chlorine, and which row about this reaction is true? So can we find the oxidation state of V? How will we find it? Let's see. You have VO2Cl and VOCl2. Let's find V. So let's see the oxidation state. X plus 2 times -2 is plus -1 is equals to 0. X minus 4 minus 1 is equals to 0. X is equals to plus 5. So V here is plus 5. Let's find it here. X plus -2 plus 2 times -1 is equals to 0. So X minus 2 minus 2 is equals to 0. X is equals to plus 4. What is happening to vanadium? It is getting reduced. Can't be A, can't be B. Let's see what happens to iodine. So let's see. Iodine right here, sodium is +1, iodine -1. And right here it will be 0. So it's going from -1 to 0. So this means it is getting oxidized. So vanadium is getting reduced and this is getting oxidized. The answer therefore is C. All right. In which reaction is water behaving as a Bronsted-Lowry base? What is a base? Base is a proton acceptor. So let's see. H2O is becoming H2. It's the same. You see, there's no addition of proton. Addition of proton would mean H2O becoming H3O plus. Can't be A because the hydrogen stay the same. Yeah, if anything, actually you have half a hydrogen now. There's just one hydrogen. H2O becoming H3O plus. Do you see that? Do you see H2O accepted an H plus to become H3O plus? And this right here is what? Accepting a proton. So this right here is acting as a base. Answer is B. Clear? A large excess of marble chips reacted with 25 of 1 mole per dm cube hydrochloric acid at 40. So you have large marble chips reacting with this. How's the result different when the reaction is repeated with 60 cm cube of hydrochloric acid at 40? So you're not changing the temperature. The only thing you're changing is, let's see the moles for this. How many moles of hydrochloric acid do we have here? 25 upon 1000 times 1. So that's 0.025 moles of HCl. How many moles do we have here? 60 upon 1000 times 0.5. So you have 0.03 moles here. So you're just using more moles of HCl. So what will be different? How will it be different? When you use more moles of HCl, how is the reaction going to be different? Will the reaction be faster, slower? Let's see. So you have used more moles of HCl. The reaction is still at 40 degrees. The reaction is faster, more products are made when the reaction is complete. Reaction is faster and less product is made when the reaction is complete. Reaction is slower, more product. So now you have used, the marble chips are the same. Yes, marble chips are the same. What will happen if you use more moles of HCl? If you use more moles of HCl, that means you've used more, so moles is equals to concentration times volume. So you increase the moles. Yes, the concentration, you see, what have you done to the concentration? Forget the moles, okay? Let's see the concentration. What's happening to the concentration of HCl? From 1 mole per dm cube, you're now using 0.5. So you have decreased the concentration. What are the factors which affect rate? Concentration, temperature, catalyst, pressure for gases. You have changed the concentration. From 1 mole, you have now used 0.5. You've decreased the concentration. What will happen to the rate? Slow. So rate will become slower. Yeah. But you have used more moles. So you will get more product. Therefore, the answer is C. Reaction is slower. Why is it slower? Because you have decreased the concentration. More product. Why? Because you've increased the moles of HCl. So more product will be formed. Clear? All right. Understood? Question number 11. Boltzmann distribution curve for gaseous mixture of ethanol and hydrogen is shown. Nickel is an effective catalyst for the reaction that occurs. What does a catalyst do? You see, it lowers the activation energy. All right. How does the diagram appear if the same reaction was done at a higher temperature? So if you increase the temperature, what will happen to the curve? It will also expand, but the height will decrease. So you will have something like this. The topmost point shifts to the right and downward. Yeah. So what will happen? The curve is unchanged. That's not true. Values of both activation energy catalyze and activation energy decrease. No, that is not changed. The values of both catalyzed and activation energy increase. No, activation energy does not change. It's just now that more particles have energy greater than activation energy. These energy values stay where they are. It's just the number of particles that change. Yes? So they remain the same. Yes, they remain the same. Only the number of particles change. And what else changes? The most probable energy. This energy changes. You see here, this was the most probable energy. That now increases. So most probable energy increases, but everything else stays the same. Most probable energy means the energy which most particles have, the highest energy that you've reached. So most probable energy will increase, yes, but everything else stays the same. Which observations are made when a sample of silicon chloride is added to a beaker of water? So let's see, when you add silicon SiCl4 to water, what will happen? You will get SiO2 and HCl. We've done this equation in period 3. So you have a white precipitate and an acidic solution. So let's see, no visible change, no. Steamy fumes and a precipitate both are observed. Yes. What will be the steamy fumes of? HCl will give you the steamy fumes and this will give you a precipitate. Precipitate is the only observation, steamy fumes is the only observation. No. Is this clear? Which row is correct? Statement, let's see. First ionization energy of phosphorus is greater than that of magnesium. So you know this is magnesium, then there's a decrease to aluminum, then there's an increase to silicon, then there's an increase to phosphorus, then there's a decrease to sulfur. Do you remember this trend in ionization energy? And magnesium and phosphorus are across the period. So why does the ionization energy increase across the period? Because the radius decreases, shielding is constant, and the nuclear charge increases. Let's see our explanation. Electron is lost from 3p orbital in both cases. No, that's not true. Magnesium loses from 3s2 and phosphorus loses from 3p3. Not true. Melting point of phosphorus is greater than that of magnesium. That is not true to begin with. Magnesium is higher melting point than phosphorus. Third, part C, atomic radius of phosphorus is smaller than that of magnesium. Yes, because we know across the period the radius decreases. And why does it decrease? Because the nuclear charge increases, so it pulls the outer shell closer. Let's see. Why? Because nuclear charge is greater. Yes, that is true. Answer is C. Electrical conductivity of phosphorus is smaller than that of magnesium. That's true. Bonding changes from ionic and magnesium to covalent and phosphorus. But that's not what depends. That's not what conductivity depends on. Conductivity depends on delocalized electrons. So not on the bonding. Therefore, the answer is C. 14. Which row correctly describes one property of barium and one property of barium oxide? So barium oxide. Let's see. Barium oxide we know is alkaline. The pH of the solution will increase. Observation when you add barium to water. Barium is super reactive. So when you add it to water, remember I told you, you will get hydrogen bubbles in a very rapid rate. Blub, 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 blub. That's how you'll get barium to when it reacts with water. The bubbling will be rapid. Few gas bubbles. No, not few. They will be rapid effervescence. Yes. So C and D can be correct. pH observe when you add barium oxide to water. Now, when you add barium oxide to water, when oxide is added to water, what do you get? You get hydroxide. And you know this is also alkaline. And this will be extremely alkaline. So the pH will be high. So the answer is D. pH will be 13, not 8. Because this is the most alkaline. 15. Let's see. Anhydrous white salt. Z is heated strongly for 30 minutes. So let's heat this. When you heat this, what will you get? Barium oxide plus carbon dioxide. From this, you will get barium oxide, 2 moles of NO2, half a mole of O2. This will give you magnesium oxide and carbon dioxide. This will give you magnesium oxide, 2 moles of NO2, half a mole of O2. So I've heated this and this is what we get. A mixture of gases is given off. So if you're getting a mixture of gases, it can't be carbonate because carbonate only gives one gas. Mixture of gases means nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. So they must be nitrates. So we know that the mixture of gases is NO2 and O2. The solid remaining in the test tube is then dissolved into small volume of hydrochloric acid. So what is the solid? This or this. So you, sorry, not this, this or this. So you add barium oxide to HCl and you add magnesium oxide to HCl. Oxides are basic. So when you add it to this, you will get what? Salt and water. The addition of a few drops of sulfuric acid to the test tube causes a white precipitate. So now if you add few drops of sulfuric acid to this, what will we get? Barium chloride, magnesium chloride, both are soluble. The only chlorides which are insoluble are silver and lead. From what you remember, AgCl is a white precipitate, lead is also a precipitate. So this is soluble. So this will give you barium 2 plus ions, this will give you Mg2 plus ions. To this now you add sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid will give you what? Sulfate ions. They are saying a white precipitate is formed. Which will be a white precipitate? Barium sulfate. Because magnesium sulfate is soluble. So they are saying a white precipitate is formed. So what will be the white precipitate? Barium sulfate. The answer therefore is B. Barium nitrate is your answer. Is this clear? Chlorine gas is reacted with aqueous sodium hydroxide. So you're reacting chlorine with NaOH. We've done the reactions of chlorine with NaOH. Do you remember? Hot NaOH and cold NaOH. Oxidation of number changes from 0 to -1 and also 0 to +1. So this will be NaCl and NaClO. Because in NaCl it is -1 and NaClO it is +1. Under which condition does this reaction occur and what is the color of the solid silver salt? What will be a silver salt of chlorine, AgCl? What color is this? White. It can't be yellow, because yellow is AgI. Can't be D, can't be B. Now, under what conditions do we get NaCl and NaClO? NaCl and NaClO are in cold dilute alkali. The answer therefore is this. With hot NaOH, you get what? NaClO3, where the Cl is +5. Question number 17. When concentrated sulfuric acid reacts with sodium iodide. So do you remember? H2NaI with H2SO4 gives you NaHSO4 plus HI, but it doesn't stop here. HI further reacts with H2SO4 to give I2 and H2S, hydrogen sulfide gas. Yes, and I told you, hydrogen sulfide gas is not produced directly. I mean, it could give SO2, and then it could give sulfur, and then it could give H2S. In SO2, sulfur is +4. Here it is 0. Here it is -2. So you can get all these products also. Now they're saying it includes sulfur, iodine, hydrogen sulfide, and sulfur dioxide. Exactly what I told you. Which statement is correct? Hydrogen sulfide is a product of a reduction reaction. So H2S is a product, they are saying, of reduction reaction. So initially you had H2SO4 and then you are getting H2S. What is sulfur here? The charge oxidation state is -2. What is sulfur here? It is +6. What is happening? From +6 to -2, is it oxidation or reduction? Reduction. The answer therefore is A. That is true. Iodide are stronger oxidizing agent. No, they are stronger reducing agent. Sulfur atoms from the sulfuric acid are both oxidized and reduced. No, sulfur atoms are only reduced. Yes, from +6 it becomes 0. Sulfur atoms are oxidized to make sulfur dioxide. No, sulfur is 0, and then it does not get oxidized. It is further getting reduced only. This is how it goes. From H2SO4, it can make SO2, then S, then H2S. It can't go like this. It will be going like this, from +6 to +4 to 0 to -2. It can't be going the other way around. NO, NO2, CO, unburnt hydrocarbons present in exhaust of internal combustion engines. Catalytic converters are used to convert these and exhaust engines. A redox reaction occurs. What happens to each compound? The catalytic converter. What happens to NO? So NO becomes nitrogen in the catalytic converter. Do you remember the equation of NO plus CO becoming NO2 and, sorry, NO plus CO becoming CO2 and N2? That happens in the catalytic converter. What is happening to NO? So it is going from, let's see, what is the oxidation state of nitrogen here? It will be +2. It is going from +2 to 0. So it is getting reduced. A and B can't be answers. NO2. What happens to NO2? Let's just see CO. Let's see CO. What happens to CO? It becomes CO2. So what is happening? You see carbon right here is +2. Here it is +4. What is happening to CO? It is getting oxidized. Answer therefore is C. You can pick any two, NO and CO. Even these guys get oxidized. Yeah. Unburnt hydrocarbon CXHY plus X plus Y upon 4O2 giving XCO2 and Y upon 2H2O. So that's also oxidation. But you can just do NO and CO and you'll get to your answer. You don't have to check the others. Or once you have done NO, AB can't be the answers. It can be C or D. And unburnt hydrocarbons get oxidized. So D can't be the answer. You don't even have to check CO. Clear? Methylamine has similar chemical properties to ammonia. Methylamine reacts with HCl to form a white crystalline solid, methylammonium chloride. A sample of methylammonium chloride is heated with aqueous sodium hydroxide. So now you see what happens with ammonia. When you react ammonia with HCl, ammonia is a base. Bases are proton acceptors. So it will become ammonium ion, yeah, and Cl minus ion. And this gives you what? Ammonium chloride. Yeah. Then when you take this ammonium chloride, in which ammonium is a conjugate acid, can I call this conjugate acid? Because it is formed when base accepts a proton. That's what conjugate acids are. So when you react this with NaOH, which it can react, why? Because this is a conjugate acid, it can react with a base. What will this give you? This will give you ammonia gas. Yes. So it will give you ammonia, it will give you NaCl, and it will give you water. So let's see. 19, they are saying, what are the products when you add methyl ammonium chloride? So now you won't get, obviously, ammonia, you won't get, I just did the reaction with ammonia, right? With ammonium ion. But the reaction will not be the same with this. I mean, this is different. So let's see now. It behaves the same way though, but it will be different. Let's see how. So you see CH3, NH2, the NH2 gains a proton, becomes ammonia, NH3 plus. Yeah. And then they are saying when this CH3, NH3 plus, Cl minus reacts with NaOH, what will you get? So what will we get? This will become NH2 now. Because you see, NH4 was becoming NH3. So the NH3 will become what? NH2. So it will become CH3, NH2, which is called what? Methylamine. What else will we get? We will get NaCl. What else will we get? H2O. The answer therefore is D. You won't get ammonia. You were getting ammonia with ammonium ion, because ammonium ion loses a proton and becomes NH3. But here, NH3 will lose a proton and become NH2. Clear? All right. Question number 20. The structures of citric acid and isocitric acid are shown. How many chiral centers each possess? Can this be chiral? No. 2 hydrogens. Can this be chiral? No. Double bond. Can this be chiral? No, because this bond and this bond is the same. Can this be chiral? No, double bond. Can this be chiral? 2 hydrogens. Can this be chiral? Double bond. No. How many chiral carbons do you have here? 0. A, B can't be the answers. Let's find the chiral centers here. Can this be chiral? No, 2 hydrogens. Double bond. Can this be chiral? Yes, because this is different, H is different, and CO2H is different. So yes, this one is chiral. Can this be chiral? No, double bond. Can this be chiral? H, OH, CO2H, and all of this. Yes, this is also chiral. The answer therefore is 0 into D. Is this clear? Any questions?